people were very much in control of the pain. So the pain management was greatly improved according to the study. The shorter labor was coming up as a big one as well. So that's around the second stage, and the pushing effort time. So this was a big thing coming up in the study. And also the experience the mother felt. So it was more positive for them the whole way through.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Tracy Donegan. Today I'm speaking with Miriam Liager. Myriam is an aromatherapist specializing in women's health, pregnancy and postnatal care. But in this episode, Myriam shares her experiences with the Winner Flow breathing device for labor. And we discuss the latest evidence on how it can reduce anxiety during pregnancy, shorten the pushing stage in labor, and helps more moms feel more in control during their labor and birth. And now I bring you Myriam.
Hi, everybody. You're very welcome to the next episode of my podcast. And today I would like to welcome Miriam Liager. I'm trying, it's a French surname and I have to kind of wrap my tongue around, but welcome, Miriam. I am really happy to talk to you today and excited to hear more about the Winner Flow, the research behind it. But this is, let me show you for anyone who doesn't know what the Winner Flow is. This is a little device that is going to change your birth experience, and whether that's a cesarean or a straightforward vaginal birth. But Myriam, what is this?
So this is called the Winner Flow, like you said. It is a breathing device that you actually can use for much more than birth. It sounds crazy, but that little thing can do so much. You can use it for anxiety, panic attack, for example, if you're constipated. We use it a lot during pregnancy as well, if the mom has any discomfort. So we always say, the constipation is usually a big thing. But it could be also back tension, shortness of breath. And then obviously we can use it during pregnancy, during labor, and postnatal, which is a big one, the postnatal as well.
Yeah, so tell me, how do we use it? And if we were going to use this in pregnancy, so let's just say we're 36 weeks and we're kind of getting ready for labor, tell me what we do.
So if you're ready for labor, you want to be using it every single day. That is a big thing. Like we always talk about this marathon thing. 30 weeks, you're getting to the end, you're getting really close to the marathon. You want to do your training every single day. So that is very important. Get into the habit to do your training. 10 minutes a day is the bare minimum. Like you can split it, but you have to be doing your 10 minutes per day before baby's born. Yeah.
And it makes sense. I mean, even if you're even just thinking about, we're going to use this for labor. I will talk a minute about some of the research, but it's because it makes you slow down your breathing. It's like the perfect accompaniment. If you're doing gentle birth or hypnobirthing, or if you're just practicing that slow breathing, it really kind of, makes you practice, because I think sometimes there's between some hospitals will say, sure, you don't need to practice breathing techniques. Haven't you been breathing all your life? Which is what I've heard. Just taking that time just to trigger that, relaxation response, like every day, several times a day, actually, especially at that point in pregnancy, would be really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, and we actually say it prepares your body and your mind. It does the two combo together, because you want your body to be ready as well, and that will help in the training. Yeah.
So tell me so there's different gauges on the Winner Flow. So when I'm starting out, am I opening it fully or closing it? Where do I begin?
So the initial point would be 2.5 so there is a thing about, that's why it's very important to reach out with someone that actually knows the Winner Flow, because there have been some changes in the devices, and the latest one, we will start using them at 2.5. But before that was different. We were 1.5 before. So you need to be careful what kind of device you have. That's why you need to buy them from someone reputable, someone that actually knows the device very well.
Yeah, I agree. And then, so we would start, so you think we start at 2.5, and that's just to get used to just the feeling of blowing out through it. And we never breathe in with the Winner Flow. It's always in through the nose, which is what we want, and breathe out with the device. Yeah.
Correct.
And what are we supposed which way does the little hole supposed to go?
So yeah, that's very interesting. It really doesn't really matter. The winner flow will work the same, but we would tend to recommend to have the hole looking down towards the floor. The first reason is because, we went through COVID and breathing out into the face of the midwife or the care provider in the room may not be the best. But also, if the hole is looking up, your breath is going to go in your forehead. Now, you probably won't notice anything, Tracy, at the moment, but in labor, that's the kind of little thing that can trigger someone. Like, it can make you crazy. Like, there is something annoying, something going in there. So you probably won't notice anything, but just in case, have it looking down towards the floor. Yeah.
Turned it down. Okay. And I think for in labor, in pregnancy, you're so sensitive to different smells. And I think having it turned up as well, you're going to be breathing in your chicken curry from last night, not something that you want to be experiencing when you're in labor. So, yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you used it.
So I came across this tool when I got my second baby. I had my first one in the MLU in Florida, and it was a very nice experience altogether, but I used the gas in there, and that's the thing that didn't go well with me. Like, I got very, very sick. So when I had my second, I went for a home birth, and the gas in there was the only option available. So I had the chat with my midwife, and she was like, look, you can't really go into labor with no toolkit, nothing in your bag. So I went into research, going around, what could help my breathing. And by chance, I found out about the winner flow. So I used it for my home birth for my second child about 5 years ago now, which is a long time now already. And I actually didn't know exactly how to use it for the pushing stage, and I still had very great benefits. So now I'm very excited for the women using it with the proper information, because I absolutely couldn't believe the experience I had. It was just mind blowing for me. Like, wow, how easy it was. So having the whole information really makes a big difference. That's why it's very important to reach to someone to get the full training and know exactly how to use it all the way through the labor. Mm-hmm.
And so when you say, well, tell me, how did it change that experience, the second stage for you compared to your first labor?
It just went very fast. Very fast. I didn't feel the pain I was feeling in the first labor. It was the power I had by breathing was just incredible. Like, the way you use the device to breathe your baby out gives you the power to do it very efficiently. So the pushing stage, the effort is a lot shorter than it would be. So in about 3 pushes, my baby was out. And it was so easy. It seemed so easy in relation to the first one. I was there pushing and pushing and pushing, and I was like, I'm not going to make it. But the second one was like, I know my second baby, all right, but still, like, I really felt a massive difference. And even the control I had with my contraction during the dilation phase was just amazing. I really felt in control. Like, it made a massive difference.
Yeah, that's something that I hear time and time again, is that mums feel like it gave them that sense of control, because you have something that you are focused on that you have to do, and you have to regulate your breathing, because regulating your breathing will also regulate your emotional state and your stress response and all of that. So even though it looks like a little tiny gadget, it is quite powerful when it comes to, especially the second stage. So do you use it differently in the second stage compared to when you're using it as you're dilating?
Yeah, exactly. The exercise will be different because, the movement is different in the body. So the exercise will be different whether you're dilating or pushing your baby. So 2.5 will be the number you use it when you're dilating the whole way through. And then when you transition or when you push, you actually change the setting down. So the pushing stage will be 1.5, and that puts pressure in the down movement. So we always say, if you want to train to give birth to your baby, you use it with the bowel movement. You use the device at 1.5 for bowel movement, and you can feel the pressure down. And so, that's the different setting. We never change it in pregnancy or postnatal, but yes, during the labor, we will change according to whether you're dilating or you're pushing.
Yeah, so there's more resistance for pushing. And with where I think this is so helpful, especially here in the US, is, there's still a lot of focus on what we call purple pushing, and that, closed glottis, hold your breath, chin on your chest, push, 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 which means you've literally cut off the oxygen to those muscles that are supposed to be doing all this great work for you, and you have restricted the oxygen to the baby. So, and this is the time when we will see, especially if mom has been holding her breath for sustained periods, that some babies then just find it harder to cope. And then we have this cascade of what baby looks like they're getting tired, and maybe we need to do now an episiotomy, or we need to speed up this delivery of the baby. And it's like, you can see, if we kind of take a few steps back and we can, breathe a little differently without the purple face and turning off the oxygen, which is exactly what this little tool does.
Exactly.
Keeps it flowing.
Exactly.
Actually,
the Winiflow, initially when we started using it in labor, that was specifically for the pushing effort. Because that little tool, it was actually not meant for pregnancy and labor in the first place. That was meant for pelvic floor recovery. So physio created it to help women or men with prolapses and leaks. So when we decided to get into the pregnancy field, we were looking specifically into the pushing stage, where people would get episiotomy, tearing, forceps, and everything. And the idea was to reduce the perineal trauma. So the whole intention of the device in pregnancy and labor is to avoid perineal trauma, to avoid any of those circumstances, having to be cut or use a forceps, vacuum, etc., etc. So.
Hey there, if you're enjoying this conversation and are passionate about evidence-based care in labour, the best way to support our work is to subscribe and share this episode with other amazing women in your life. Your support is so important to us and helps us reach more mothers with empowering content. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button and spread the love.
There you go.
Yeah, and just that alone, reducing assisted births with instruments, I think is high on the list of every mom's birth preferences. So has there been much research, I guess, because this is a question that I get, has there been research that shows this works, and what has come out, I guess, in the last couple of years on the research?
We have one published, one is still waiting to be published, but one has been published in November last year, 2023. So the purpose of the study was around knowing whether it reduces the C-section rate. So that was the main idea of the study. The result was not overly satisfying on the C-section rate. There was a much better numbers, but they still said we need to look into this better. But what came up very, very positive is people were very much in control of the pain. So the pain management was greatly improved according to the study. The shorter labor was coming up as a big one as well. So that's around the second stage, and the pushing effort time. So this was a big, big thing coming up in the study. And also the experience the mother felt. So it was more positive for them the whole way through.
So the mothers found it helpful too. And I know the feedback that I've gotten from other midwives is that, you need to have this in your toolkit. What kind of feedback are you hearing from midwives and doulas who are using it?
Yeah, they love it. They love it. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting more requests from the hospital. They're very interested because they see it all the time, but they don't really know what it is. Thankfully, a few hospitals they've been reaching out. One in particular in Ireland is really into it. They're buying boxes regularly, so that's fantastic, which means they give support to moms. But they're very open to it, very, very open to it, because they see the results. So it's easier to communicate with mom as well, because she's, more relaxed, and she's just much more into, cooperation. I mean, cooperation is not the perfect word, but I mean, they really, there is a proper, it's a much better environment because mom is much more relaxed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's kind of what the end game is. We want moms to have a positive birth experience, and as relaxed as they can be in what's quite a stressful situation. I wanted to show you this. So this was given to me by a mom who was looking for something that she didn't know about the winter flow, and she had found this thing on Amazon and sent this to me to try it out.
No.
No. No. And I played around with it. I took it apart. But it is, because it's so, like, it has this big plastic mouthpiece that goes into your mouth. It's almost I felt like I was gagging, and I'm like, how could you go around with this in your mouth for like several hours probably? And it really didn't. And even the, changing the settings on it, it was just, yeah. So if you're out there and you're thinking of getting one of these things, and I've seen them on TikTok as well for athletes, don't get that for labor. You'll be sorely disappointed, and you'll end up with a sore jaw. I think there are, devices out there that help you build a jaw, but this is probably not what you want to be doing in labor. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, use the tools that were designed for, I was going to say for women's bodies, but actually, if it was, as you said, it was originally for, that physios were using it for men and for women as well. So tell me how are women using it postpartum?
So postpartum, you'd be using it pretty much the same way you used it during pregnancy. So once you know how to use it in pregnancy, you know how to use it in postnatal. And that would be from the minute baby is born. If you want, you can use it straight away, because there is no side effect, negative side effect. You can't harm your pelvic floor ever. Like, you're just using your breathing. And it's by using the diaphragm, you're going to work on the pelvic floor, because they work together, right? They're connected. So it's a very gentle work you can do. And that is just going to be very, very functional. Like, it's going to help recovering the belt, the abdominal belt. And it's going to help to tone the pelvic floor. So it's a very gentle exercise you can do straight after baby is born, if you feel like it.
I was about to say, if you feel like, because give yourself a couple of days, but I can't speak for everybody, but I know after my two, I'm like, pelvic floor, like, I've no idea where it is or if I even have one at the moment, because there's so much, stretching and changes happening during labor that it can take a couple of days for that, sensation to kind of come back. So give yourself a few days, and don't worry if you're thinking like, I cannot feel my pelvic floor, especially if this is your first baby, because it does come back.
You don't have to, really. You don't have to, because that's the problem. A lot of women, they won't go to see a physio, and they don't really know where is actually the pelvic floor. They can confuse the muscles. So I would never mention the pelvic floor. I would always mention the breathing up, because by breathing up, you actually pull the pelvic floor, but you don't have to consciously do it. Right. So that makes a big difference. You just focus on the diaphragm, on the breathing, and the pelvic floor is going to be, pulled up anyway. It's going to be working. Yeah. You don't have to focus on it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, when you're newly postpartum and you're in the whirlwind trying to figure out which way is up, and the thoughts of like, we're thinking about pelvic floor. But if you have this, next to your bed, and while you're recovering, you can do just a couple of, practices just for even just that relaxation response when you're sitting down to nurse your baby and your mind is going a million miles an hour. It's definitely a tool worth having. So where can people get the winter flow? And you're based in Europe, so can people reach out to you and get them there?
Yeah. So in Europe, that'll be on the website aromaenergy.ie, which is based in Ireland. And for the American people, that'll be you, Tracy, my point of contact in America. So that'll be the main thing. And then for the other queries for Australia or whatever, it needs to be on the go, because I need to, organize. I wouldn't be the one dealing with Australia, for example, but I can reach out to the person at that.
Great. Anytime I post about this, I always get so many inquiries about what is this and how can I access it? And so I haven't had it in stock for a while, other than a couple of that I use for my own clients, but I'm really excited to kind of get this into more hands over the next couple of months, and more birth stories where women feel empowered and with staff as well. I think my experience as well with the midwives is that they're like, this is just a no-brainer. This needs to be in your toolkit. But as you said, you really have to put the practice in beforehand, and it's training. So you're training yourself to, every time you pick it up, or every time you're walking to the restroom and you're this is coming with me, to help me with that constipation that's so common in pregnancy. I've seen it used for a cesarean birth. So how is it being used in that respect? So if somebody really want to have, a gentle cesarean, how can they use this to help them?
So the first thing would be to help you relax, because especially if it's a C-section emergency, your mind just goes out of the window because you probably didn't plan it, of course. So it's very important to keep yourself calm, to just ground yourself, and the window flow is going to do that. It's going to help you with this long exhalation. It's going to help you relax. And then it does depend a lot on the care provider and who's going to do the C-section and how do they work around the C-section. So I would always recommend the moms, even though it's not in your plan, can you just check in the hospital where you go with the care provider you're going to be? What are they doing around C-section? Because if they can go for the C-section, the gentle C-section, they can actually help breathing baby out through the cut, which is amazing. But you need to have the care provider on board, obviously. So that's a conversation, you need to check what's available in your area.
Yeah. And I think even if you have a provider who isn't on board with, the gentle cesarean as such, you can still use it as a tool to keep yourself relaxed and focused during the surgery, because I think we tend to forget that when the body is in a state of that rest and digest, we're also in a healing state. So we don't have huge levels of adrenaline in the body, and which is going to slow down our healing. So anything we can do in those moments during the cesarean, immediately after, just to, keep ourselves in that nice rest and digest state, even though there's a lot happening around you, is great to put the body back into healing mode and quick healing mode for those months, especially for for anyone who has an unplanned cesarean, but even for moms who are having a planned cesarean and they know what's coming, there's always going to be, butterflies and nerves. It is surgery and you are about to meet your baby. So there's a lot of heightened emotions on the day. Myriam, what else can you share with me about this brilliant little gadget that I haven't asked?
Oh, it's fantastic. I call it my magic tool. I use it as well for tantrums for my kids.
For you or for the kids?
For both. No, it is very good for panic attack and anxiety all the time. Because some people keep it for pregnancy and labor and then they throw it away. But keep it because it's your best friend for the rest of your life, basically. Like, you really can do so much with this. It's very simple. Once you know how to use it, it is extremely sensible. Very, very simple.
How do you take care of it?
So you don't really do much. If you're the only one using it and it stays clean in a safe place, you don't really have to do much. Now, if it gets dirty, you want to wash it. So how do you want it? Well, you just put it in soap water. You just open it completely and you wash it in the soapy water. Now you can sterilize this. That's the good news because it's biocompatible. It's not plastic. So if you want to boil this, sterilize it, it won't melt. The shape will stay the same. So that's very interesting for hospitals as well. If you go for a C-section, for example, sometimes the hospital want to have something sterilized, but they can go ahead and do it. There is no problem. But yeah, you just let it dry. That's the main thing. Let it dry in between uses because if you have some condensation, the condensation needs to go. Don't put it back in the box or in the sachet if it didn't dry first. But yeah, you can let it dry like that or open it, let it dry. That's it. No much. That's all you have to do.
I can just throw it can I throw it in the dishwasher? Oh yeah, so it won't melt and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Easy.
You just need to be careful. One thing, the little triangle you have in there, it can go away. It's actually mobile. You can move it. So you just need to be careful that doesn't go missing. So if you open the two together and you put it in a dishwasher, you have a chance that this goes missing. So maybe you want to remove this before you put it in the dishwasher.
Sure. Keep it separate. Great. Miriam, thank you so much for sharing all of this great information about the winter flow. I know it's going to be really popular again once we kind of get it out there again. Will you share where people can find you on the socials and email?
Yes, so on the internet and Google, it's aromaenergy.ie. That is the main way. And then on Instagram, that would be Aroma Energy Holistic Therapies.
Great. And I will include all of that in the show notes as well. So people can find you and learn more about the winter flow. Thank you for your time. It was lovely to chat. It's been a while.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Remember, empowerment begins with knowledge. If you enjoyed our time together and want more content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. So stay inspired, stay informed, and until next time, take care of yourself.